Airbus tested how A380 passenger airliner flies on vegetable oil. 2 test flights were successful. As part of the program on transition to sustainable fuels, Airbus company for the first time conducted test flights of the giant airliner A380 on 100% biofuel. This fuel powered one of the 4 engines. This is the third and the largest Airbus airliner using fuel, which mostly consists of vegetable oil. During experiments, the company expects to certify the technology for large-scale operation by the end of the decade. The airliner is a model Airbus Zero-E demonstrator designed for flight experiments with the different types of sustainable fuel. It is known that additionally to the company intends to use it to test hydrogen engines. At the end of February, it was reported that the hydrogen variant would begin testing in 2026. For the first flight, the airliner was fueled by 27 tons of sustainable aviation fuel, made mainly from edible vegetable oil and partly of other fats. The biofuel powered the Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engine during a 3-hour flight on March 28. Another test flight took place on March 29. This is not the first test of 100% SAF on Airbus jetliners. Earlier tests were conducted on the narrow-body Airbus A315 and Airbus A319neo. The company expects to market the first commercial version of an aircraft flying fully SAF by 2035. In assessing the potential of SAF, Airbus is guided by the expert opinion made in the Waypoint 2050 report, according to which the use of SAF is the only way to decarbonize the industry. According to Airbus itself, all its airliners are already certified to fly on 50-50 mixture of SAF and kerosene, but in the failure, the manufacturer intends to completely get rid of the fossil fuels. Xiaomi Mi Band 7 will be released soon. There is more and more information on the internet about the continuation of the hit Xiaomi Mi Band line with the fitness bracelets. Soon the 7th model of the series should see the light. In the new version of the smart bracelet, display resolution will be 192 x 490 pixels. In the previous, it was 152 x 486 pixels, and the battery capacity of 250 mAh. Smart alarm will choose the easiest phase of sleep suitable for waking up. The fitness bracelet will also support always-on display function. This is even with the screen locked, it displays the time, battery status and app notifications. In the phone settings, you can edit the information by adding or removing the certain items. And the million of fans of the gadgets expect a new model to support GPS. Other features include sleep and workout monitoring, heart rate and pulse oximeter, app notification, call answering, camera and music control on your smartphone, phone finder, women's calendar, NFC support and more. In Belgium, 3M plant that produced 80% of the coolant for etching silicon wafers was stopped. For the 3rd year in a row, the semiconductor industry has encountered various difficulties that do not necessarily have to do with the effects of pandemics or geopolitical conflicts. In Belgium, the company that provided 80% of the global market demand for silicon wafer etching coolant has been shut down due to the stricter environmental requirements. As explained by the publication Business Korea, 3M Enterprise in Europe has supplied its products to major semiconductor manufacturers such as TSMC, Samsung Electronics, SK Hynix, and Intel. The coolant is needed to process the silicon wafers that make the chips of semiconductor chips. The 3M facility shut down on March 8 indefinitely, jeopardizing the operation of its customers' core manufacturing facilities. According to knowledgeable sources, stocks of coolant will last 1 to 3 months. During this time, the recipients of this type of products will have to solve the problem caused by the closure of the Belgian plant, because the local authorities are concerned about the impact of chemical production on the environment and human health. The substances in this coolant are insoluble in oil and water, do not break down under the influence of high temperatures, and can accumulate in human body, causing hormonal malfunctions. Huawei faces new sanctions because of its support for Russia. According to the Financial Times, new sanctions may be imposed against the Chinese company Huawei for expanding cooperation with Russia. In addition, sanctions may also be imposed on Xiaomi, which until now has successfully avoided the aggravation of relations with the United States. According to the newspaper, Huawei is hiring engineers from different cities in Russia and has expanded sales and business development opportunities in Moscow. In addition, in the first half of March, sales in Chinese smartphones in Russia grew by 300%. The new US sanctions against Huawei will be another major blow to Chinese company. I believe Huawei and other Chinese manufacturers will not be able to legally export to Russia, said former US Department of Commerce official Kevin Wolf. Huawei is working on product upgrades to get out of the US supply chain by replacing US-made chips with equivalent, less high-tech chips, Huawei chairman Guo Ping told reporters this week. Western sanctions have provided most devastating to Huawei's smartphone manufacturing segment, with the revenue from the company's consumer products collapsing by 50% last year, the manufacturer said in the settlement. Huawei's total revenue last year fell 29% year-on-year to 636 billion yuan. Apple and Meta mistakenly handed over some users' data to hackers. Apple and Meta platforms handed over the data to hackers who posed as law enforcement officers. It was reported by Bloomberg, citing 3 sources. According to the agency, the companies provided addresses, phone numbers, and IP addresses in mid-2021 in response to bogus emergency requests. Interlocutors explained that normally such data can be only handed over with a search warrant or subpoena signed by a judge, but they are not needed for an emergency request. It is known how many times companies have provided data on such requests. An Apple spokesman suggested the agency read the company's guidelines. They state that a law enforcement officer who filed an emergency request can be contacted and asked to confirm to Apple that it was legitimate. Meta spokesman Andy Stone said the company checks every data request and uses system to detect abuse. We block compromised accounts and cooperate with law enforcement, he said. Snap, which owns the messenger Snapchat, also received a fake request. It does not know whether it handed over user data. Bloomberg's interlocutors clarified that in some cases the request contained fake signatures of real law enforcement officers. According to sources, hackers could use the data obtained for harassment and financial fraud. Dyson unveiled a prototype of headphones with an air filtering mask. The Dyson unveiled Zone, a noise-canceling Bluetooth headphone and mask air filtering technology. Specific device specifications such as weight and battery life and price have not been yet announced. The Zone mask feature simplifies an air filtration technology from other Dyson devices. The Zone draws air through the headphones using compressors, filters it, and delivers it through the mask, The Verge writes. The mask does not touch the face. It can be detached to use only headphones or pulled away to talk, for example. There are several filtration modes inside and can be changed manually or automatically depending on the intensity of movement. For example, you need more air while running. According to Dyson, the Zone can filter out up to 99% of harmful particles. The filters need to be replaced once a year on average. The Zone has 3 different noise reduction models. Isolation mode with active noise reduction when the mask is on, and it down automatically switch the headphones to talk mode and disables ANC. There is a transparency mode which you can hear some sounds such as car horns, sirens, and others. Charging the device via USB-C, it can also be connected to the Dyson Link app to get detailed information about the air quality around it. A journalist from The Verge tested the prototype a few weeks ago. I could feel the air circulating in front of my face even though I was indoors. It's hard to say how much cleaner the air became. The Zone headphones are very big and heavy. The humming of the compressors was little audible when they were on the maximum, and I wasn't listening to music. In April 2021, rapper will.i.am teamed up with the spacesuit designer SpaceX to introduce the Super Mask, a smart protective mask with headphones. The company plans to begin selling the device in the fall of 2022.